And welcome back to Alex Talking, and I'm really excited to talk about this movie today. Last night, after an excruciatingly long week of work, working all 6 games for the Colorado Rockies during this homestand, I, within an hour of getting off the last game, went with my wife and one of my oldest friends to see Steven Spielberg's newest sci-fi UFO movie, Disclosure Day. And I was so excited for this because it's a new Spielberg sci-fi movie. But to give context for kind of where I am with Spielberg at this point in his career, I don't consider him to be a Martin Scorsese, or a Akira Kurosawa, even back in the day, who just you can completely argue he maintains his consistency and his style and his quality of filmmaking throughout his whole career. I personally don't feel that Spielberg has done that at all, which isn't a bad thing. Tarantino is so afraid of making a bad movie, but Spielberg sure as hell not. I've seen, I believe, 27 Spielberg movies at this point, and there are like 6 or 7 of them that I'd say are straight up bad. The BFGs, the Ready Player Ones, the War Horses. And like something like War Horse or Lincoln, and Bridge of Spies, in the 2010s era, are great articulate examples of nothing is wrong with this movie. But do you really feel anything watching it? Do you really go back and rewatch it? Do you really think that it has any sort of magic to it? Or if this didn't have somebody's specific name on it, would it be something that was completely forgotten? It's kind of how I view it. In my lifetime, Spielberg has made a handful of movies. I was born in 2003 that I think are good. I would say War of the Worlds is good, The Adventures of Tintin is good, and then there was a huge lull there for 10 years until West Side Story. And I hope you can hear the birds. I've been doing my reviews since I moved to Denver outside, but I really wanted to do this one outside just because of the bird element of this movie. Because as I was walking into the theater, my friends and I were like, oh, Emily Blunt's face is like, has a bird shadow over it. She's gonna become like a bird person. Not what happened, but thought, hey man, it's a birdie movie, so fits the tone. But yeah, it took 10 years in between Tintin and West Side Story. And the only good movie in between is The Post, which falls exactly into that category of, if The Post said it was directed by Scott Cooper, I would still love it. I like Scott Cooper a lot as a filmmaker, but you know what I mean? Like a non-Spielberg type name, I would still think The Post is very good. And that's the only one of those movies in that era that I think holds up to that level of scrutiny. But outside of that, West Side Story was his true return to form. And that got me finally like, okay, maybe Spielberg has some juice left in the tank. I personally am not a fan of The Fabelmans. I thought that was okay movie that looked great, but I just didn't love the script. And that is kind of where I fell with this movie as well. Now, I would certainly say that there are elements of this that I like better than The Fabelmans. It kept me engaged throughout the runtime more, while also still being an extreme slog at 2.5 hours. This movie frustrated me way more than it made me feel any other emotion. Now, David Koepp returns to write this movie, his 5th collaboration with Spielberg. They've previously done, Jurassic Park and War of the Worlds together. This is very much so in line, beat for beat, in terms of filmmaking quality, script quality, CGI quality. This is most like their collaboration with Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull, especially in substance. If you've seen this movie, you'll know what I'm talking about. And the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull is a movie that came out whenever I was 4 years old, and I got the cereal spoons and all that stuff. And my dad really made me aware, even as a child, of how much he was excited for that movie to come out, and so I was excited for it and got to see it on DVD as soon as it came out. And I've always been okay with Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because I saw it at that age. But like rewatching it a few years ago when Dial of Destiny came out, I loved it for all the crazy, stupid shit. And I also was like, boy, I can't believe how much crazy, stupid shit they actually put in this movie. Which, of course, actually leaned really well into Koepp's what he wanted to do with Dial of Destiny and Indiana Jones. Because in my opinion, that one went even way more jumping the shark than the fourth one. I like all those movies though. This movie is like a sci-fi mystery bag. You know, the mystery box thing that J.J. Abrams done. That's kind of what I kept thinking while watching this movie. Because it's very intentionally vague in what it is doing, because it also wants to be a commentary on our world, the real world, and politics and stuff in the real world. So, at least that's why I thought it was vague. Maybe it was just being lazy. I thought the script itself was extremely lazy. Just a hollow pastiche of different elements from other sci-fi movies that, at the end of the day, I don't feel came together to make any sort of sense or satisfying conclusion. I just kind of want to talk full spoilers with this movie, because I think if you haven't seen it, there's no real point in like me talking about it. But if you have, I think it's more helpful for me to really articulate what bothered me so much with it. So from here on in, there's going to be spoilers. I'd give this movie a 2.5 out of 5 stars if you just wanted a quick non-spoiler review. But here on out, there will be spoilers. I just, like, there's lines in this movie where it's like, exposition machine Coleman Domingo tells them, you are the ability to speak math, and you are our ability to understand it. So it's literally like, he can hear it, but he can't say it unless he says it to her, and then she can say it. And that was the whole point of, it's always been you two. It's you two. It's always been you two. You guys shared this alien experience when you were 10 years old. Guys, I've seen Mysterious Skin. Like, if you're trying to do alien abduction as metaphor, like, it was done way better 20 years ago. And in a way that was done almost identically here, but rang completely hollow for me. And that could be because of Josh O'Connor and Emily Blunt's performances. I've seen Blunt in particular getting a lot of praise, which shocks me. She's a super, like, honestly, I guess whenever it comes to art, you're allowed to criticize it. I was like, I don't want to be mean to Emily Blunt, but she's a super famous and successful person. So I think it's okay that I can say I found her performance here to be very, very bad. And not that the script was doing her any favors, but it was so one note. And so, oh, I have these new mystical powers. I can't even figure out what I'm doing with it, but I'm doing the right thing, and I've got to go do it the entire time. And then when she starts freaking out, didn't buy any of that. There's a line where she says, I won't be anyone's religion, and then literally turns around and does like a scary movie runaway. Like, the amount of times where I felt the finger come off the pulse with this movie that's trying so desperately hard to say something about our modern day, but just was filled with moments that didn't land, comedy beats that didn't hit at all, and just completely unbelievable acting, which, like, I'm not the biggest fan of Emily Blunt to begin with, but I really like Josh O'Connor. I think Josh O'Connor is one of the best up-and-coming It Boys. And Spielberg got so much out of Mike Feist in West Side Story that I thought him playing with another Challenger's boy would be really something. And no, if anybody's just doing their shtick, it's Josh O'Connor just doing his, I'm a nice guy just trying to do the right thing. I don't know how to completely articulate it, but can you please just listen to me? Because I have to do this because it's the right thing. And in a lot of ways, that's what he's doing in Wake Up Dead Man. And I really like his performance in this movie called Rebuilding. But I think it's because I've seen so many of his like indie movies as well as like other stuff that watching this, I was like, he's not doing, his character's nothing. So he's just being himself the entire time. He's just leaning into all of the mannerisms that make him an extremely likable actor in a lot of roles. But here, because he wasn't a real character, it just felt like a guy constantly telling you in a frantic way, I'm not built to be in this situation, but I've got to be, so I'm gonna do it. And it's like, okay, his girlfriend gives a much worse performance. In my opinion, the girl that plays his girlfriend gives a like bottom 3 performance ever in a Spielberg movie, and every time it would cut to her doing things with her eyes and giving line deliveries that were so flat. I would think, do they like only think they can get one or two takes of this? Like, do they not know that this will forever be a performance on film in a Spielberg movie? I did not get that at all. They're all non-characters. Emily Blunt's the one with the biggest character, and it is that she went through something traumatic when she was 10 and now is a reporter. And that's it. You find out the traumatic thing at the end. It's exactly what you pictured in your head the entire fucking time. That I think that's, and I don't mean to be someone who's like, oh, I couldn't handle the subtle ending, but it's like, oh, your movie was boring as shit the entire time. Threw in a couple of nice, like, garbage action sequences. Hey, man, I loved that terrible CGI train sequence. I had a great time with it. But then you get to the end and it's like, Colin Firth just sits down. And all his Goon Squad villains just leave. And that's, like, not a problem for anybody that likes this movie. That's how that's, like, resolved. That the cardboard cutout, cookie cutter military villains that were nothing the entire movie don't ever get defeated, because there's no actual real way to defeat them, because there's no actual, like, fight to be had, because that's just not the type of movie this is. But it's the type of movie it wanted to be the entire time, it felt like. So then just ending in the way it did, of he literally comes in, sits down, doesn't say anything. He has some sort of backstory and relationship and past with Coleman Domingo's character that Koepp and Spielberg must understand in their head, but they're not real characters with a real relationship in this film. And you feel nothing. Like how many shots of people looking at fucking cell phones do you need to have to feel something? And if you felt something watching that, that's awesome. That actually means that 2026 film can speak to people. It can move people. I guess I'm stuck in a past where I'm like, damn, I can't live in a world where I pretend that this is classic Spielberg just because I want it to be, because it's just shots of people looking at a cell phone while they're showing footage of aliens being tortured. And it's like, come on, is that, and I get wanting your reading of a movie to just be your reading of a movie. You don't need to justify it to other people. But in this world of the internet, that's what people do. They tell people what they think about a movie and why they should think that way. So the fact that I've seen people saying, this is Spielberg's Eyes Wide Shut. This is an information movie. He's trying to tell us something they don't want us to know. Is it that they're fucking torturing aliens with shovels? Like, no shit. You know, like, I guess the fact that it was so heavy-handed while also being so moronically stupid made it something that I just could not meet on its level. Because that's all I ever try to do with movies, is to just meet them at their level and enjoy them, because that's all you can do. And this movie was not that for me. It just constantly got worse and worse. The third act was just going off a cliff for me. I've seen people saying that that's when it got engaging, and to me, that's whenever I was like, "Wow, I can't believe this is actually like." I started realizing this is how this movie's going to end. They're just going back to Kansas City again. Okay, it's just going to be in the news station. Okay, I mean, it is what it is. It's just not what I wanted it to be. It's not what I think most people would want it to be. I have no idea what type of reception this movie's going to get, just because it's like, it's just such a weird blockbuster to make something so hollow while trying to say something. And it's like, I don't even understand. Like, that the government's lying to us. Once again, no shit. Like, I didn't need a Spielberg blockbuster to tell me that. Tell me more. Tell me something interesting. Don't show me Tricky Dick Nixon showing a guy an alien getting cut in half, you know? Because that was just stupid. It was just dumb to me, and it lost my engagement with this movie on every level. People were laughing all throughout the theater, and it was a sold-out theater in the Big Show, which is our IMAX here at the Alamo Westminster, and I could just tell, nobody in this room liked this movie that much, because none of the jokes hit. And when I say none, I mean almost none, except for two of Wyatt Russell's, which shout him out. Wyatt Russell gives by far the best performance in this movie. He's hilarious. Um, and he gets like bad lines from the script too, but he makes them work. That's a sign of a great actor. But no, nobody was laughing until alien torture and shit started happening. And it was so like, I'm about to show you the craziest shit you ever saw. Plays tape. It's alien getting cut in half with a shovel. Woman. Oh my gosh. Like, no. The guy next to me laughed. People up in rows ahead of me were laughing. I had my head like this. Like, I was just disappointed because I wanted to like this so much. Because it's a new Spielberg alien movie. I haven't liked the past, 25 years of his career to that much of an extent, but I really, really hoped coming back to this genre, especially because one of those good movies in the last 25 years is his terrific War of the Worlds adaptation, that this would be good. But no, it's just not. War of the Worlds had more to say in 2005 about how society breaks and tears each other apart than this did about how the idea of something that challenges our belief is enough to separate us. It was just so frustrating. And the more I think about it, because it's a day later, I wanted to give it some time to simmer. I'd still give it a 2.5 out of 5, but that's just so disappointing. That's what I gave Fabelmans, and haven't rewatched Fabelmans since 2022. I never probably would. I have no intention to. And that's kind of how I'm coming out of this movie feeling. And my buddy Eli and my wife both agreed with me, because that was a conversation we had afterwards. It was like, well, I would just never want to rewatch that movie. And they were like, yeah, me neither. Because there's no characters. There's no real, like, standout sequence. Like, I think of that train sequence and I just kind of giggle thinking about the CGI. Is there any other, like, standout? There's a very good car chase, actually, that then leads into that train sequence. The car chase, I thought, was the much more significantly better part of this movie when it came to action. But yeah, I found this so strange, with how comfortable it was having just such a shitty script. And Colin Firth, and like you see these actors and you go, yeah, Colin Firth must not have read the script, because what respectable actor of that level would have read that script and went, well, I need to do this movie, other than the fact that it's a Steven Spielberg movie. That's what I mean. I can't just like it because it's a Spielberg movie, and there are so many elements to it where it's like, well, if you're going to like this, you just have to leave the bags at the door. I am all for suspension of disbelief. I'm all for movies being more than they make themselves out to be. This didn't need to be a dumb action movie for me. That's not at all what I'm saying. If Spielberg really wanted to have something to say, he should have said it. He just didn't in any way that mattered to me with this movie. And that's why I'm coming out of it so disappointed. But I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know what you thought in the comments and what you got out of it and what elements of it were so strong to you. Because I thought Jan Kaminski, who I have honestly been at odds with throughout half of his career with Spielberg as well. I think some of his work is absolutely incredible. And then I think that some of Spielberg's best movies, like Minority Report, are made extremely dated and strange to look at by the way Kaminski chose to light it. So I've always had, and especially all through the 2010s, it's like a weird thing where, I was talking about how Spielberg's been so comfortable with making shitty, boring movies, but he still has this amazing cinematographer that will shoot a movie to look like the most important thing ever in every single scene. And he still gets John Williams to do the score and make the score sound like the most important thing ever in every scene. I thought the score of this movie was so obnoxious, because it's a big, loud John Williams score in every scene, and that's just not the movie this is. But it wants to be. That's what I mean. It's not. It's not the thing that people are saying it is, where it's an information movie. And it's not. Because then it wouldn't have the big, annoying, obnoxious Williams score. And then it wouldn't have the big, awful CGI animals that just take the life out of the scene as soon as they show up. It wouldn't have that stuff if it was an actual mature movie that is getting the credit for being. Because it's not. It doesn't have the whimsy of classic Spielberg. It has the tone of something more serious and adult. But it doesn't actually have the maturity to handle that in any way like a Schindler's List or Saving Private Ryan. So to me, this really felt like, a master of none. Trying to be a jack of all trades, you're a master of none. This was putting way too much into one bag, and it all ended up leaking out. in some way at the end to me. So, yeah, very disappointing. Definitely one of the most disappointing movies of the year so far for me. Disclosure Day. That's my thoughts on it, and I'm going to go see Stop That Train, and, well, that's not going to be until Wednesday, so it's going to be in about 5 days. But until then, I'll be seeing shit like tonight. I'm going to see The Furious, the new Hong Kong action movie, and then Dressed to Kill, the Brian De Palma classic, is showing at the Alamo. Alamo's doing me good. I have the entire weekend off work and first 2 days of next week, so I'm just going to go to all the classic movies they're showing. They've got Boogie Nights. They've got Agnes Varda's La Bonne Air, which is my favorite Varda film. I wrote my French film final about it last year, so I can't wait to see that on a big screen. They've got Ingmar Bergman's Persona. I mean, this is going to be great. I can't wait to see Boogie Nights up on the big screen. It's going to be a fun weekend. So, yeah, looking forward to all those movies, and then I'll go see Stop That Train. So, I hope you enjoy whatever you go see at the cinemas this weekend. Thank you for watching. God bless, and have a great day.